Welcome back, guys. So today we're going to be doing another video on the Neo Geo Arcade Stick Pro concerning the hacking and the unlocking of the bonus games, the ones that they hid in the system. So I have a little bit more information I want to share with you guys. So yesterday we did a video step by step doing this hack that was listed on Reddit, where you download from this link, and there was 3 files, part 1, part 2, and the update image files. So I showed that in action. A bunch of wonkiness, to be honest with you. You get a bunch of games included that are in those files there. So kind of a weird thing. I prefer to curate my own stuff, but there is a way that you can do that. So I kind of want to touch on that with these files. You can change the games out if you so choose fairly easily, but it's another thing where do it at your own risk. I really don't necessarily recommend this hack because there's going to be better ways to do these things in the future. But in my video, I wanted to test more stuff out, and after I was done the video, I tested things and I put some additional information in the description, how I did the factory reset, and then I didn't have access to the hack anymore, but I don't really think it deleted any of the stuff that it added because, you know, factory reset, it was like, boom, I'm done, and we just added like 4 gigs worth of stuff to the internal memory, so I really doubt that it deleted any of that stuff. But I went back, re-added the hack, and I had no issues. And it was kind of strange, actually, because the first time in my video, I didn't have any Game Boy Advance games, but when I redid the hack, I had a bunch of Game Boy Advance games. So it was kind of strange. Like something didn't take the first time, and then the second time it added it. I don't know, kind of weird. Seems hit and miss with this hack, because what I did after that was I started manipulating the files. And that's what we're going to be looking at today, is the included files in this hack. To see how things work and kind of get an idea of some other things. Like I said, the unlockable games that are on the system, because that's where I got into some trouble. I started saying, you know what? This thing is injecting information on the system. Maybe I can unlock the games this way. So I started effing with it, fun with it, and I jacked it up. So my struggles, my mad science crap where, you know, I'm not, you know, I don't know shit, but I was messing with it. It's kind of good because I screwed it up, but I can give you guys information and warnings. Don't mess with this stuff unless you really know what you're doing. But even then, you may risk screwing this thing up. So I'm going to go ahead and shift on over to the actual arcade stick. So this is just fresh booted. I no longer get that hack menu. So kind of strange because I've tried re-adding the hack and it just doesn't show up. And I'll show you right here. We're not going to sit through this whole thing because it could take a few minutes. We'll revisit it in a moment. But in system here, I would go to system upgrade, searching for the update, and we do have the update. So I'm going to go ahead and confirm and let it do its thing. So we're going to go ahead, let that restart, let it do its magic, and then we're going to come back to it. And I'm going to show you it doesn't work anymore for me. Not a big deal. I don't really care that much, but it's just kind of a warning. What we're going to be looking at and doing right now could mess up your system if you decide to install it. But there's some cool information here. So here are the files. This video, I'm not really going to edit too much. I'll just zoom up on some of this stuff so you can get a better idea of what we're looking at. But here are the 3 parts, part 1, part 2, and update. So part 1, we're going to go ahead and open this up. These are image files, but really they're just compressed files with a bunch of stuff on it in image form. We're going to use 7-zip to open up the archive. And as you see on part 1, the only thing we have here is a Neo Geo folder and then another folder that's just like an underscore. And inside that one, we have ROMs and images. So in the ROMs folder, we have around 74, I believe, Neo Geo games listed. But when I did the hack, each time that I successfully did the hack, I didn't have all these games. So kind of strange. I'm not really sure why they're all here. But these definitely didn't show up, not for me. So I almost think this is like an addition to, and maybe they didn't implement it. And then you also have an image file folder that has images for each game. As you see, to edit anything, this archive is locked. And I do have the password right here, XU gameplay dash SNK. So we're going to need that for a few of the things that we're doing here. So there you go. You have the little tiny ass image. They're all in PNG form. So if you went into this, not in this one, because I don't think this one's really doing anything, unless there's something I missed. But you could always take those off and put them on the USB if you already have this hack installed and access it through the USB. That would work just fine. So there's that. That's one good thing with part 1, but there's no other files involved. Part 2, we're going to go ahead and check that out. We have Game Boy Advance. Same thing, ROMs, handful of ROMs here. And then the images for the games. You know, we don't really care about that. And then the icon. The icon, I believe, is just the little icon for the Game Boy Advance right there. Big whoop, right? So part 2, that's all that's in part 2 is Game Boy Advance. So the first one's Neo Geo, second one's Game Boy Advance. The third one, the update image, when we get in there, there's some more interesting stuff here. The main folder and the root of, I guess it's the root of it, of this image is more games, or in this archive, or more game. Open that up. We have several more folders. Most of these are just going to be images. Settings, it's just a little image. Most of them aren't really anything. They'll be like solid colors or brackets and stuff like that. So we're not going to go through all that stuff. But as you see here, more game, item game, focus, same thing. They're all just images. A lot of them are just brackets and whatnot like that. Like, who cares? But they're there for a reason. Then we have local, which there's some really interesting stuff. We'll jump into that in a second. Image, just some more images and these animation files and whatnot. Dialogue. What do we have here? Okay, my Neo Geo stick just blinked, so let's jump back over there real quick. So it's rebooting. There we go. So nothing happened. We just have the 20 included games. We're not logging into that dual screen where we pick the hack or the original user interface. Now, like, it's not recognizing my USB anymore, and I haven't removed it. So that's kind of strange. But if, we can, we won't do that. If I unplug the USB and plug it back in, is it recognizing it? No, oh yeah, it did. It showed up now. Let's see. Unlock, nothing happens. System upgrade. Okay, we can do it again, but it's just, for me, since I manipulated some things, it's just not going to do anything anymore. So you got to see that. Let's go back to the files. So there's all that. We don't care about all that. Now there's a couple other things here. The actual update, the update.bin, which makes me wonder with some of this stuff, did they get this from official sources and start manipulating it? Because a lot of times, man, with devices that are out there, that are mass marketed or even not necessarily mass marketed, but are from legit companies, sometimes they'll have an insider who works on this stuff but doesn't attach their name to it to give you these kind of things. And I almost think that's what's going on here. But you have that update file, and then you have the update description any. And as you see here, it's just telling you the same stuff when you go back to that screen. Let's go back to it real quick. The system upgrade version 1 with the version code, published date, the 3 numbers there, update the game, add some games, and whatnot. So that's what this template is. It's just saying the same thing. You have a CRC code. I wouldn't mess with any of this, but it does have the launcher path and the injection path to where the data is supposed to go. So I wouldn't mess with that, but interesting that it's there. So I don't want this video to go on for much longer, but we do have a lot of interesting stuff here. So in the local folder, you have the languages, but there's a bunch of information in there. Language array, that's just the language list. Simplified Chinese, traditional Japanese, Korean, and English. Interesting. And then default .ttf, that's just the font file that's used. So let's just go into English. We're not going to mess with the other languages because it's all the same. It's just these files will be in those languages instead. So the one thing with the unlockable games that we have seen is that there's this lock any and this games any. And in the lock any .ini, you have the 20 additional games listed that's telling the system that lock these aren't available. There needs to be something that unlocks them. And as you see here, it starts with ID 20 because the original 20 games starts with 0 through 19, so 20 games. This is going from 20 to 39. So we have games Fatal Fury 2. I've already published this list like on Twitter telling everybody what are the games that are actually included here. But I'm starting to wonder if these fools are going to sell access to this, because if they do, that's some boo-boo-ness. The first Samurai Showdown, Metal Slug 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and X. Interesting. Ninja Combat, Super Spy, Shock Troopers 1 and 2, League Bowling, Soccer Brawl, and Super Sidekicks. Interesting stuff, right? Those are the locked games. The games, any, is the ones that we already have on the game list that we have access to. So the types, there's shooting, action, fighting, puzzle, and others. So I'm wondering if there's going to be other ways that they add games to this officially, right? So you see ID 0 goes all the way down to 19. These are the games that we already have access to. Now, the interesting stuff is going to be in the strings.ini. The copyright, just copyright information. We don't care. Let's go ahead and go into that. So this right here is for the hack, but it looks like it was removed from the actual system and manipulated for the hack. So that's why I wonder, like, was this from an official source who just started manipulating things to put this out there? Is this some employee, somebody who works for SNK? I don't know, just speculation. But here we go. Here's main, hashtag main. We have the settings and all that, the different buttons that we can press. Like I said, this is for using the hack, but there's some stuff in here that's not in the hack that makes me think like, okay, this was just pulled from the original firmware. So here we go. No update available. Please visit the following links for update URL. So it looks like there would be like something listed there to get updates. I don't know. Help, the Neo Geo Mini official website, SNK Facebook page, some emulation options, save data, save and load, exit, that kind of thing, controller settings, and the buttons that you would press for that. Unlock game, software update. So those are a couple things that we had access to. This no UDisk. This is when you try to access the USB in the hack. It says UDisk not detected if you don't have a USB plugged in. But I'm wondering if some of this, like I said, it seems like this was pulled from the official firmware. No CD key. I'm not 100% what that is. No available CD key found. Unlock done. Successfully unlock the following games. So that made me wonder if this is like ripped from the official firmware and just manipulated for this hack, which it kind of has to be. I mean, I would imagine it's going to list like, okay, you got these games now. So is there a way that we can unlock it right now without manipulating anything? Like maybe something that triggers it? Or is this going to be where they give you update files that unlock certain games? Or are they going to sell access? If they sell access, I'm telling you right now, fuck SNK. Like, we're not going back to that where there's stuff already on it and you're going to charge for access to it. Not doing it, bro. We'll figure it out another way. But I'm hoping they don't do like little chunks of games and charge for it. That would be stupid. So they also have down here search for the upgrade file, upgrade not found, unpacking, unpack file error, restarting device for upgrade. Now, the few times that I did that on the system, did the update, and I manipulated these things, right? The games, any and the lock, I combined them, hoping that maybe this would inject it somewhere that it would work. But obviously, with this being the hack, it's not taking these files and putting them where the system cares. It's putting them in a different directory. But then at the same time, why are these files here if they hold no bearing on the actual system? Because you're supposed to be able to just combine the locked games with the actual games, and then it gives you access to them. But it's not happening for me for one reason or another. So why is it there? But after I started doing that, manipulating these files, that's when I couldn't put the hack back on the system. It just would not allow me. So I just wanted to give you guys, that warning on that. It's just kind of a strange thing that I messed with. Who cares? I don't really care that I possibly messed up my system, but I just want to give you guys more of an inside look at what's involved here. If you do want to mess with this, be careful. With those images, the first two images, you can change out the game list. The same thing with this more game. We have like the Super Famicom, FBA, Game Boy Color, and Mega Drive stuff here. You can go through and change these out if you want, but who knows if you're going to mess something up. I would wait until there's a better way of doing this, and there should be pretty soon from what I'm hearing. But I just wanted to give you guys this information, kind of, a little different than normal videos I do. Not necessarily an entertaining one, more of a let's dig into this and see what the hell we can find, right? So, hey, really do appreciate you guys. With that said, I will catch y'all next time. Peace out. Bye-byes. Let me know what you think, and boom. Bye.